What's up, Saltwater Fishing University? So excited about this video. Got my good friend here, Keith Ammons, who is the VP of Sales and Marketing here at Regulator Marine. We're in one of the many buildings here in Edenton. It's been a fun trip. It's been a fun day. We're on a 34. We're going to talk about who it's for. We're going to even talk about, it's going to surprise Keith maybe, who it's not for, because we want you to know. We're even going to talk about pricing, so you're going to find about that now in this video. All right, Keith, so start. Before we look at any of the features on this bad Mama Jama 34 Reg, in your mind, perfect state, who is your typical buyer of the Regulator 34?
I think there's two things that are going to play here, Marcus. Okay. Number one is, let's think about that market across the board. Hardcore fishermen on this side, yes. Sandbar hangout guy on this side. Okay, all right? We got that big spectrum right there. Yep. There are lots of brands down here that'll be loaded with fishing features, extra live wells and all that kind of stuff. And you got a bunch of brands down here that's going to have they're going to have wine racks inside there, and they're going to be catering that. Regulator purposely tries to go to the middle. Okay. It's meant for the person who wants to do both. Okay. It's not the greatest of all the fishing features, not going to be the greatest of all those sandbar cruising features, but it's got some of both and it meets in the middle. It's the compromise between the guy who's a hardcore fisherman and the wife who just wants to go hang out with all her friends on the sandbar under the shade and have some wine. I think
that was a pretty dang good, honest answer there. All right, cool. So let's look at some of the features of this boat. And let's start with the what's pushing it. The engines, everybody always wants to know the specs. This unit that we're on right now, which is getting ready to be shipped out probably within the next couple days, I guess.
Probably 2 days away at this point.
All right, 2 days away. They're still going to do a few things to it, right? That's why you'll see a few things here, right? So we're right in the heart of it, and once it leaves those doors, it's going to the new boat owner, right?
Correct.
So let's start with the power. We got 425s.
Twin 425s, 850 horsepower on this boat. It also comes with triple 300s to be 900 horsepower. So it's just a choice whether you want the triple 300s or the twin 425s.
What do most people go with?
Now, we're about 50-50 on this boat. Let me tell you quickly the pros and cons of the two across there. Triples give you 3 engines. The boat will plane on 2. So if you lose 1 engine, you can still get on plane and get back and do whatever you want to. That's the first big thing there. Yep. Plus, 3 props in the water give you more torque. You'll feel the difference when you're midline and you punch it.
Even on the 425s versus the 300s, you'll still feel a little bit of a difference.
Correct, because you're going to have a little more power with 3. It's simply 3 props when you get there. Yes. Now, when you get to top end speed, you're about the same. They're very, very comparable when you get there. But you got a little more torque because you got 3 props. You got more surface area you're pushing when you're that way. Now, twin 425s is a little better fuel economy.
Ooh, okay.
So now when we're talking about that, we go, oh, I can save a little money on fuel. You can do it that way. And the last thing, and probably the biggest thing that makes a difference for the decision maker, it is draft. You get less, 14 inches less with twins versus triples.
I have never even thought about that before.
Now, and the reason being is that middle motor has got to be down far enough to get under the bigger down. When you get those twins, you're outside the center line and you save yourself a lot of draft. So most of the time, if the person's in a place where they're worried about shallow water, twin 425s.
North Carolina.
If you're going to be offshore and you're big game all the time, you don't care about that. Triples, and you get a little bit extra torque.
Yeah, and so the top speed with the 425s, let's say, top speed for this 34 Reg?
61 miles an hour.
61 miles an hour. And I don't know about you, but I don't need to go 61 miles an hour on a boat. That is ripping. I mean, that's ripping. Cruise speed is?
Around 40. You'll be between 37 and 42.
And that is, to me, ripping nice. If you're going 40 miles an hour, especially if you're offshore, you're not asking for more. You're certainly passing by all those big sport fishers.
Absolutely.
No question about that.
Yep.
Now, gas mileage. What are we looking at for the two? This is the moment of truth. For the two 425s at cruise, we're looking at what?
About 1.2 gallons per hour.
What? I just think about this. I've got a 28-footer. It's got two 300s on it, and it's doing about 1.2 to 1.4. And this with two 425s at a much faster cruise speed is doing 1.2.
Yes.
Unbelievable. That is really, I expected, honestly, and maybe I'm dumb. You know I'm dumb, but I expected like a 0.9 to 1. So,
and if you're on the 300, you'll probably be very close to a 1, maybe a touch under a 1 on there. But these would be more. And one of the big reasons people miss out on is, think what Archimedes told us.
Yeah.
Archimedes told me, give me a lever long enough and I'll move the world.
Oh, wow.
When we have the bracket and we take that bracket and we move those props 36 inches further back in the water in there, that gives us a bigger lever, and that helps our fuel efficiency so much.
This has really been cool for me. Plus, we have an Archimedes reference, which is pretty impressive, Keith Ammons. Okay, so now we've talked about the power. So let's discuss some of the features, and I'm gonna let you take that away. You show this boat to us, or to me, like you would anybody that was coming and looking at it in a showroom.
Perfect. We would start right back here in this big cockpit. Lots of space for you and 3 or 4 of your biggest buddies to hang out back here. Lots of space. The first thing I would say is we have the full transom because we have the bracket. We're going to take back the transom. That's what we call it in here. You're going to have a live well or fish boxes here. And the great thing about them, look, they're at waist level. They're easy to get into.
Yes.
I'm not digging into the floor to bend down to get up and out to get my live bait or to put my fish in and out that way.
And deep.
And very deep and huge back here in the space. So you have these 2 big boxes. You can play them either way. They're both plumb for live wells or fish boxes, but they're easy to get to. Also, Marcus, if you fill these 2 up with fish, all right, almost 400 quarts, you can go right here to the floor.
You've had a really good day.
You had a really good day. In the floor, we're going to have another box right down here. So now you have another place to put fish as well.
That's where my big eye's going, Jack.
So you have all this fish box space in the back, or live wells if you want to use those in the transom as live wells back here. Big cockpit, lots of place to fish, tons of storage, drawers, tackle storage, Plano boxes, all kinds of stuff through here. You got a sink in there. And there, a bait prep station, a sink, and this will come out and pull over here. You can still have wash water and do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, it's nice.
That way. A cutting board made right up here for us. Easy access to the build, flip down seat in the back. So not only is this going to be a fishing area, it gets that in between. Now I got a place to sit down, relax, nice, comfortable wraparound combing pads, and lots of space as well. So this will be the first highlight, I tell you, in this boat.
If I get a Seakeeper, a gyro stabilizer, would it go there or would it go under here? Under
this tackle center. Now, let me tell you the pluses and minuses here. You got the gyro, you got all the shape. You see how deep these drawers are.
They get
yeah, you can
small.
lose about half of your space in your drawers because you have it in there. Also, on either side, you'll find a garbage can and some more tackle storage. You'll lose that because that's all going to be right in the middle. Regulator works purposely really hard to keep the center of gravity in the boat right up under your butt. When you're sitting down here, you're standing at the helm.
Yes.
And in turn, we want the Seakeeper right there so it really performs really well. Because you can try the Seakeeper on this boat versus another boat where it's not exactly at the center of gravity. It doesn't perform as well.
You feel like it makes a difference. That's interesting.
Absolutely. It does make a difference. You can be on this boat, and I'll tell you a real life story. In Miami, on government cut, big ships coming and going, and they're throwing 6 and 8 foot wakes out of the side. We turned the boat sideways to show off the thing. The waves would come all the way up past the rub rail to the top, and the boat would sit still. And you see the waves come up and down that were moving, 4 feet up and down, and the boat sticks.
Love those Seakeepers.
As we move forward from that big, huge cockpit, we're right here in our Helm Station area. A couple things that you would see that would make this boat stand out above some of the others. Nice seal leather everywhere you go, all the way along. Flip down, rest here, bolster seats that go up and down.
It's just that you can tell this is a different level of soft goods. I mean, and I know it sounds silly, but the contour of the backrest, my seat doesn't have the same contour to it, and it's not as comfortable. As soon as I got on this one, I was like, my goodness, that is the way that this is done. It just feels so comfortable.
That's what I know, Marcus. When somebody buys a Regulator, they're typically buying their 8th boat on average.
Wait, did you hear that? The average Regulator buyer has previously owned
7 other boats.
7 other boats. Dang. So why do you think that is? Because they've just experienced all the things that they want to do better, and so therefore they're like, I'll pay more for that. I want to get the premium that. I don't want to sacrifice that. Would you say that's the reason?
That is, because when you first start boating, you don't understand the value of some of those things. For example, on your boat, you're talking about not having this curvature into the lumbar of your back.
And how would you know, right?
You don't. You get it, you use it, and the next time you go buy a boat, you go, oh man, that's a little upgrade. Individual footrest here. So now this allows you as a driver to stand and your passenger to sit.
On my boat, I don't have a footrest and I dangle if I'm sitting back. Drives me crazy. So it's just a little thing like that. I've even thought, how can I install myself a footrest? So that to me is essential.
Right. And not only just one footrest, because many brands will have one, and then the driver or the passenger are stuck doing the same thing. Here, the small things,
one
individual
person can
ones.
sit up, one person can stand.
Absolutely.
Smart.
And that's what those boaters who are long-time experienced have understood and dealt with those kind of things. Then they start wanting those things. And it's maintenance-wise, too. For example, a lot of boats, these T-tops will come down and they'll go right to the floor or right to the side or however they go. You have a metal bar.
Yeah.
Well, when you walk up and down enough times barefoot on your boat doing stuff or on your flip-flops, and you stomp your toe once or twice on that thing, then you realize that, and the next time you're looking for your boat, you remember, oh yeah, I remember when I busted that toe wide open on that bar. Or I remember how many times I took a toothbrush and had to clean all around that for the fish guts and the stuff that was on there.
Yes.
To integrate these and do that, you start looking for those things that you have.
Right.
Full integrated, everything here you'd see on the sheets, twin screens on this boat, individually locked waterproof switches to do whatever you like to do.
Waterproof switches. You think obvious, not obvious.
Not obvious a lot of times. Absolutely not. You want to do that. Individually done as well. So if you have all the way individually, they lit up. So when, of course, we don't have battery power down, but you can do it. You'll backlight it so you do it. So no matter what the lighting is back there, you can tell whether that's on or off that way. Also, you see they group pumps together, lights together, windshield. We try to do light grouping, and we've done studies to figure out where do we need these to become very, very efficient. Where do people want them to happen to have those on the boat? So integrating all this, making it as usable and as friendly as we can with the next thing. Even place to throw your change in your wallet or your phone or whatever up in there as we move forward.
Wow. All right.
The next thing that you would see as we're standing here, Marcus, is the largest, for Regulator, the largest T-tops in the category. Look, this T-top comes all the way out here.
It goes way out.
Way out. Now, look where it falls. Purposely engineered that when you get a drip line, you're sitting there and that boat is dripping, it's going to drip right outside this rail. That's why that rail's there. So now you don't have to worry about that dripping and that water getting into your boat. Of course, if the wind's blowing, the wind will blow it in and stuff. But having that drip line all the way out here creates space. If you get the spray curtains along the side, they come all the way back here. Now you can use that boat wintertime, everything else, because you've protected yourself here.
Yeah.
We've learned that people want shade and protection are two things that are important on the boat. And we start integrating in those kind of things, designing them right into the boat. The next thing we talked about, that very experienced customer looking for. Notice blind fasteners up here. That means there's no screw head. No matter how good a screw head is, sooner or later it's going to rust, it's going to come loose, it's going to drip or anything.
Yeah.
And to get rid of those screws everywhere we can.
You don't have the hardware stains that you see on so many boats.
Exactly.
Which drive me crazy. I love it.
So those are the things you start seeing here in the Helm and the small things that are done. Another great example I'd share, if you reach up here and you grab the edge of the T-top, it is a surfboard edge finish. All right?
It is a surfboard edge.
Hand finished all the way around. It takes 24 man hours to finish that all the way around. But what does that mean for you? Where's the value in that, Marcus? The rest of the life of this boat, there's no maintenance. There's no caulk line to take care of. There's no edging. There's no screw heads. None of that. This will be no maintenance. Once people have owned multiple boats and they realize the maintenance associated with this, boom, it makes boating much easier. One of our purposes, one of our desires is for you to be able to step on this boat, take off and go, come back, and be minimum time that you spend maintaining, working, maintenance, cleaning and stuff. You still have to do those things. We're going to minimize that as much as we can so you can spend more time fishing, more time hanging with your buddies, more time with your wife at the sandbar, whatever you want to do, in less time. Oh, I got to go fix this. I got to go work on this.
Which drives you crazy. And it's like the little things, it's like the finished yet easy access to the wiring. I mean, it's just so clean. It looks good. It's so much better than, well, what I'm used to seeing.
Yeah, and the other thing about this is what we go ahead and do for all of our customers on every one of our boats, no matter what, behind here, if we were to take this out, we would see a power bus bar already there. So if you want power up here, it's already there. You don't run. Second thing you would see down all these tubes are pull strings all the way down into the gang. So if you say, oh, I'm going to add something new, we're going to go ahead and put the pull string there, put the power bar, all done.
Dang, Gina. That's really slick.
Now,
it's really slick.
As we move forward, right along your side there'll be a nice big cabin space in there. Let me see. In the 34, got a bed. It's a double bed. You and I could both crawl in there together if we wanted to.
Let's go. Let's go in here.
Got a cushion in there. You can lay down. The first thing you do is you open that door there, Marcus. If you feel that, a friction hand. Notice the door stayed right where you left it.
Right, and it's
not going to slam on your fingers.
Feels so stinking sturdy.
Inch and a quarter, feel that thing all the way down there. It stays.
It's like one of the heaviest, sturdiest doors. And to your point, I mean, you could be going down the ocean and it won't just slam on you, which is easy for somebody to do.
Yeah, when you first buy a boat, you don't even think about that. But one time when you're standing here like this and you hit a wave and that thing slams your hand, your second and third boat, you go, oh, maybe I need to think about that. And you start seeing the value in all those small things in there. Now, I'll be frank, most people don't spend the night on this boat.
No,
it's capable of them that way. Yeah. But if you got grandkids, things like that, it's a great place to turn on the air conditioner. They can hang out down there when they get tired because you can fish all day long. And if they don't have an 8-hour or 10-hour attention span, they still got some space in there. Plus, you got a nice toilet, electric toilet in there with a push flush that goes overboard. So hey, when I got Mama with me, she stays happy. She's got a nice clean toilet.
Wow, that's a big deal. That's really, really cool. Let me look in here real quick. So the best way to get into this is by going
just like
first.
You are. Your rear first is the easiest. You'll see there's a handle on the inside and the outside for you to hang up. Also, you'll notice when you're in there, Marcus, reach up, reach your hand and touch the ceiling. You got about 6'5", 6'6" space in there. Oh, yeah. So tons of headroom, even if you're a tall guy.
I got a ton of space. Yeah, ton of space. Ton of space. And
you got a flip down counter that covers up where the toilet is to give you a little bit of counter space to take that extra bit.
Right.
And didn't have access to your batteries to get those in and out. They're right in there, and they're labeled for you. You should know which battery is doing what. Nice and easily labeled.
Well, and those batteries ain't never gonna get wet.
Nope, not at all. And you won't see them getting salt and corrosion and stuff on them, even from the salt air when you're down in there.
If you're watching this right now, it's gonna have cushions. We just don't have them in there right now because they haven't put them in through the line yet.
Marcus, up front, you see what big, beautiful space this is up here. It's really even hard to tell how spacious it is. So I have a challenge for you. Lay down right there. I want everybody to see how big it is. Lay
this is easily the biggest, like...
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's not even counting the walk around space that I could have here. You can be laying there, I can walk around and fish. Tons of space on this boat. We call it a 34. When you put this boat in the water, if you put a measuring tape from the back to the front, it's almost 38 feet in the water.
Wow, so you're not cheating on the LOA.
We're a 34 foot of usable boat space.
That's the way it should be done instead of lying about the dang numbers and saying, oh, it's a 38 when really it's a 34 plus a bracket and engine.
Right. And some of our competition, they do that from a marketing ploy.
I know.
They give that big old number. Regulators can give you a number that's usable space to really use.
Usable space. Yep.
You start seeing little small things that make a difference. And we talk about we engineer everything and don't install things. Pop-up backrest. So there we go. So now I don't have a backrest. If I want to sit up here and have that, I have it. Or I can do it flat. Do that way. This particular model doesn't have a table on it. It's an optional. But some people have a table. You turn the table into a big layout. So it comes with a big cushion. So now you got a big, huge layout. 2, 3, 4 people can lay out here in the sun if they like to do it. Or if you like my family, red hair and fair skin, we like this big shady stuff to come on there with the carbon graphite domes or the stip pop up. Anybody can set this up in about 1.5 minutes. It's quick, easy up and down.
Wow.
Then we start talking about those small differences again to make a difference. Reach and grab this handrail. You'll need this ergonomically shaped for your hand. It's not a round bar at all. To go ahead and spend the time in that to make everything fit what you want to do. USB ports when you get to the front. So now my wife can sit up here, plug in her phone, and do the things that she wants to do. Wow. Big, huge box there.
Oh, yeah.
Your ladder stored for your back, your dive door. You can get in that. And this is the great thing here. I'm going to step right in here. Watch this. Now, when we go through the factory, you notice this is all built as one piece. And here we are. Watch this. I'm a big guy, 260 pounds right now.
All right. Wow.
And you're not going to do it because this is made as a piece. It's not bolted in there. It's not glued in there. It's not, there's nothing. It is made as one solid piece there. So you get that solid feel throughout the whole boat.
If you did that on some, you'd be risking like ripping it off of the...
Correct. Because here's what I know. If you put two things together, chemically, mechanically, or a combination of the two, that's still your weak link. If it's a solid piece, you avoid that weak link and you get over that.
Wow.
Now, another thing I say about all of this, we can just leave that one to look right here into this one. Everywhere you go where there's a box to be in there, all of our boxes are insulated. So you can throw fish in every one of these boxes and fill it up.
Wow.
They're all illuminated. There's lights under each one. So when you flip on your switches on your dash, every box lights up. Right? Wow. The ones in the floor are macerated, and you'll notice if they have rod storage on them, they're lockable as well. You've got a little key that goes on them. So anything that can fit a rod is also lockable as well. So you throw your stuff in there, lock it up. It's all insulated. It's all illuminated.
The fact that it's lockable, that's really smart. That's really, really smart.
Well, thank you.
And rare. So does this pull out? Or?
No, this one doesn't because we got the bed down below on that way. So this one doesn't. But what we have is here in the middle. You have there, and you'll feel the big heavy-duty hardware on either side to do. And you know, we got two big guys. I'll jump in here with you. Okay, we got space for both of us. Yeah. I'm not as cool as you, though.
Yeah. That looks good. That looks good. I love it. I mean, I'm in a Cadillac. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's just a different breed.
Yeah. Well, here's what I would say, and I'm biased, and I'll go ahead and admit that I'm biased on this, Marcus, but people who don't know boat brands ask me from time to time, how do you tell the difference? What's the difference on there? And I said, think about it in this form of cars. Yeah. You get cars, there's Ford, Chevys, Toyotas, Hondas, whatever you want to do. You pay a certain price, you have a certain expectation. Nothing wrong with them. I drive a Ford F-150 pickup truck. That's what you got. Yeah. If you want something nicer, you go buy a Mercedes, a BMW, a Porsche, a Lexus, whatever it is. You pay a little more for that, and you have a higher expectation of what you're going to get. But if you want the very best sedan you get, you go buy a Rolls-Royce and a Bentley. Just because the Rolls-Royce here, that doesn't mean the Mercedes or Porsche is bad, because they're still nice vehicles. That's right. And it doesn't mean the Ford or Honda is bad. There's a difference of the small things. They both have engines. They both may get 20 miles to the gallon or whatever it happens to be. You have those things. But the difference between the Rolls-Royce is the stitching in the floor mat. Yes. The way the grain is laid in the thing. The way the door smoothly opens and closes. All those kind of things separates the Rolls-Royce from the Mercedes. Those small things that we point out in this boat, the lockable things here, the hand-finished T-top, those are the things that separate Regulator from some of the other brands as well.
Yeah, wow. So now that you've explained to us this Rolls-Royce analogy, which I think is fitting, let's talk about cost, let's talk about price. MSRP for the Regulator 34.
The base MSRP on this boat is about $480. But normally, I see this boat at boat shows when you get some things on it between $500 and $600. That's what you would expect. So between $500,000 and $600,000 for a Regulator 34. Correct. Once you get your stuff. That's everything. Right. That's ready to go. Is this trailerable or not? It is technically legally trailerable. It's an oversized load, so from state to state, there's a permit that you'd have to get that's going to vary. Typically, most people buying a 34 is not trailering it. Yeah. Typically, our 25 and below are trailing because our 25 It's 30 foot long when you have a measuring tape to it. Remember, this 34 is almost 40 foot, 38 foot, whatever, some odd inches. So that requires a pretty darn big truck and trailer to haul a 40 footer.
Yeah. And one last thing I wanted to ask you, and this is, I don't feel like manufacturers always explain this well. And yeah, I think it's helpful, and that is, you sold a lot of boats in your day. I'm sure there's probably times where you told somebody, you know what, a regulator is probably not the best fit for you, and here's why. So what's an example or some examples of when a regulator, specifically in this case, a 34 especially, who's just not going to be the best fit for? And I know some of it's come out in what we've already said, right? The experienced buyer we've talked about today. We've talked about the price. So if they're looking for a very budget and minded, 34-foot boat, this isn't the route they're going to take in terms of the cheapest one out there, right? Because you're going to get some of the premiums. But what else would you say to that? Who's it not probably the best fit for?
Is not, especially if the person's already decided they're in the premium category.
Yes.
It's not going to be for the super hardcore fishing guy, because there's some other good choices out there, whether it's Contender, Yellowfin, or whatever name brand, that build a very good boat that is a hardcore fishing boat.
What is the hardcore fishing element that it's missing?
Hardcore fishing elements in this has the maximum of 2 live wells. Somebody may want 4 live wells and I forget the name of what it's called. There's a box that goes in there. But anyway,
like just like a fish box.
Like a fish box. It is a pump that brings all the water in and separates. It separates all the water coming into your various boxes. We're going to have 2 live wells. Rod holders. We're going to have limited rod holders. You can take a dozen or 15 rods on this. But if you're the kind of guy that has 30 rods and you want this rod for this rod for that, it's probably not the best boat for you. Now, on the other end of the extreme, if you're the kind of guy who goes, I could care less about fishing, I want my wine and my cheese, we're going to hang out at the sandbar, we're going to do that. You know what? There's probably some other boats that offer those features that would be better for that. But this boat is best for the person who wants a well-rounded boat to do both in that. And that's the other reason this boat will carry a little better resale value than the competition at either end. That's the thing about
a regulator. I don't know what the heck it is about the resale of a regulator. It's unlike anything I've seen on the market. And I'm not saying that. I mean, it's like unbelievable, the retention of value that you see with the regulators.
Yeah. I'll give you 2 things to that so you'll know. One is Yacht World did a study over a 10-year period. Regulator was the best resale value of any boat, any kind over the 10-year period.
That's a pretty cool stat.
It was huge. It was great when that study came out from Yacht World, from Independent Thing there. And the second thing is, Joan Maxwell, the owner of this company, we did a study into us.
Is amazing.
She asked me to do a study. One of the studies was, we know that the average boater in the United States turns their boat every 6 years. They can buy a new boat every 6 years. That's the average.
That's about what I've been tracking.
Okay. So we know that our 28 is our #1 selling boat. We sell more 28s than anything else. So we went and looked at all of our 28s that were 5, 6, and 7 years old that were at dealerships by individuals, wherever they were for sale. We tried to find all those. We saw what they were selling for. We keep a hull file on every single boat we've ever made that we have in the hull file. We know. We took what they were selling for then. We compared to what they originally sold for when the person did it. Every one of those boats were selling for 75% or more of what the person paid for them.
Wow.
So that was better than we expected. Right? That was better than we expected. So then she asked this question to me. Joan says, Keith, what is the cheapest anybody could buy a regulator for? And then we went to all the normal online places. We went to all of our dealers who had trade-ins, whatever. We just said, what's the cheapest regulator? Search price only. Nothing else. Didn't matter. Didn't matter if the engines were blown. Didn't matter if it had electronics on it. Didn't matter if it was sitting on the land or wherever it was. We found the 10 most economical regulators just on the price alone. The very cheapest was sitting in Boston. It was an old 1993 or 94 or 26, and the person was selling it for $33,000. They have it listed for. Wow. So we go back to all those original things. That original boat that guy was selling for $33,000, he bought for $69,000 25 years ago.
Son of a gun. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Like, you want an inflation hedge? Buy a regulator.
Well, I can tell you this, in the market that we have right now and everything going on, we recently had a gentleman buy a 41. This was his third or fourth regulator. He bought the 41. Within about 2 weeks, he went back to his dealer and they had somebody else. He sold that boat and he made significant money and placed another one on order because he did it.
The market is crazy.
The market is crazy right now.
It's been crazy. Hopefully, now though, watching this, I think this has been great, Keith, because this is what it's supposed to be, a real review, talking about who it's for. We talked about who it's not for. Honest take from the VP of Sales and Marketing. You've got a sense for price, and hopefully now you know whether or not the Regulator 34 is a good fit for you. And as always, my friends, stay salty.